In the fall of 48th year before Christ, defeated at Pharsalus and tired of the chase, Gnaeus Pompey arrived in Egypt, where he was soon treacherously killed by the Egyptian ruling circles. Caesar also soon landed with a small force on the Egyptian coast. Gaius Julius stayed in Egypt until the following spring. The proconsul won another difficult and glorious victory in the Alexandrian War, putting on the throne his protege and part-time mistress, Queen Cleopatra. A year later, Caesar successfully defeated the Pontic king Pharnaces in Asia Minor. While Caesar fought in Egypt and Cappadocia, supporters of Pompey were able to recover from the defeat and unite for revenge. Southwestern Spain and North Africa became their stronghold. The main enemies of the consul gathered in the former possessions of Carthage, in the city of Utica. Caesar's opponents not only gathered troops, but also organized their own senate, an alternative to the Roman one. In December of the same, Caesar with 6 legions and 2,000 horsemen arrived on the shores of the former Carthage, to end the conspirators at once. In January 46th year at Ruspina, part of the forces of Caesar fought a numerically superior enemy, Titus Labienus, Petreius, and Juba, the king of Numidia, who entered into an alliance with the continuers of the cause of Pompey the Great. The consul had to retreat with losses, but he was not defeated. Caesar subsequently made an alliance with the Moretan king Bacchus, who defeated Gnaeus Pompey the Younger. The Moretan monarch soon invaded Numidia, whereupon Juba abandoned the camp of his yesterday's allies. Until the arrival of reinforcements, Caesar was forced to skillfully maneuver, striking the enemy by surprise and winning victories in small skirmishes. At the end of March, he blocked from sea and land an important port of Taps, where there was Cato Jr. with a garrison. To his rescue rushed Scipio Nausicaa with his army. Caesar took the position in such a way as to completely isolate the garrison of Tapsa and do not allow to penetrate into the city detachments Scipio Nausicaa. Pompeians could get to the besieged only on a narrow road that passed between the salt marsh and the seashore. However, Caesar in time blocked it with field fortifications and a detachment of 3 cohorts. The commander himself camped 8 miles from Thapsus. Nausicaa could not get to the aid of Cato Jr. in a straight line, so he was forced to make a night march, bypassing the swamp from the north. So Pompey's supporters were right in front of Caesar's camp, which he wanted. Caesar left in his camp detachment proconsul Aspernata, and himself hurried with the main forces to attack the enemy before he had time to build a camp. Caesar, as usual before the battle, traveled around his battle order, praised the valor of veterans, encouraged new recruits, solemnly declared that the gods prophesied him a complete victory. In his notes, he claims that his soldiers themselves started the battle. The legionaries were so eager to fight that they forced one of the trumpeters to blow the signal for a general attack. Success was at once favorable to Caesar's right flank. His slingers and arrows were able to quickly maul the elephants, frightening them, enraging them, and turning them into flight. The poorly trained animals ran through the formation of his left wing in a fury and then made trouble in the unfinished camp. The local African horsemen, who galloped away from the battlefield following the elephants, could not take the blow either. The battle order of Nausicaa's troops quickly became disorganized under the onslaught of the front line of Caesar's legions. An attempt by the garrison of Thapsus to make a sortie failed. After a brief skirmish, the anti-Roman forces turned to flight. Caesar's battle-scarred veterans pursued the fugitives and ruthlessly cut them down. Nausicaa's camp and fortifications capitulated without long resistance. The defeat of Nausicaa's army was complete. The losses in killed, wounded, and captured exceeded 10,000 men. Others scattered and dispersed around. Caesar's legionaries were captured 64 elephants. Caesar estimates his own fallen at 50 men. However, knowing the bias of Gaius Julius in such calculations, we can assume that the dictator lost at least 500 men killed and wounded. The surviving soldiers of Nausicaa fled to Utica, where there was a garrison of Cato the Younger. When the enemy appeared under the walls, he stabbed himself, throwing himself on his sword. Caesar captured Utica and then part of the lands of Numidia, which soon became another province of Rome. Juba was killed by his own cronies when he decided to flee. Of all the top of the Pompeian movement, survived only Gnaeus Sextus, Titus Labienus, and Aetius Verus. With the remnants of the former army, they sailed to southern Spain, where they created the last stronghold of the fight against Caesar. In February 45th year before Christ at Mundus, Caesar finally defeated his opponents, of which saved one Sextus Pompey. The civil war ended with the complete victory of Gaius Julius Caesar, who received in the same year the title of dictator for life with unlimited powers.